When the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow, it was clear that their fortunes seemed to be turning. Joe Burrow was just coming off the historic 2019 Heisman run. Then he looked like a great prospect and looked like he was going to come in, then immediately be a great rookie quarterback. And Joe Burrow was a great rookie QB when he wasn't, fucking dead. Joe Burrow was great. He did a fantastic job, and it was clear that the Bengals they finally got their guy. Then what do they do to build around that guy? I guess we had to see this offseason, and the way I see this Bengals offseason was a really interesting, underwhelming one. So, let's start off with free agency, where I think the most interesting thing happened this NFL offseason, and no one's really talking about it, and that is the fact that they lost William Jackson and Carl Lawson. But then they seamlessly brought in Trey Hendrickson and Mike Hilton, who were two really good gets. But to me, if you want to build this culture and really build a great Cincinnati Bengals team, you have to keep Carl Lawson and William Jackson. Or let's just say you lose one of those two, you can bring in Trey Hendrickson to play alongside Carl Lawson. Then boom, you have a great front four because you already had DJ Reader there. That would be a great front four. Or let's just say you lose Carl Lawson, why not then bring in Mike Hilton so you can have William Jackson and Mike Hilton, then boom, you have a really good secondary. So the Bengals, they didn't do it right to me. They tried to play damage control this free agency period, and I don't think it turned out okay. Their defense won't be bad next year. They did the best they could do in the context of playing damage control, but I don't think you play damage control when you're one of the worst teams in the league. You need to focus on re-signing Lawson and Jackson and building the culture through Lawson and Jackson and Burrow, and have those be some of your building blocks. Speaking of building blocks, I'm going to just transition right over to the draft. A wide receiver is not a building block. I really like Jamar Chase. He's great. There's a reason why he was a guaranteed 5th, 6th, or 7th pick. There's a reason for that. There are not many receivers that get that pedestal. There are a lot this draft, but there are not that many. And he was one of them. Jamar Chase is great, but he's not a building block, especially when you don't need wide receiver. I never got the wide receiver need. Please, the fucking Bengals fans just typing in the comments, please tell me why you guys needed wide receiver. You have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. When you have the 5th overall pick, then you have two good, relatively young receivers. You don't need another. You need offensive linemen, or pick anything else, really. Just pick Patrick Surtain. Pick fucking Micah Parsons, dude. Not Jamar Chase. You could even pick Rashawn Slater. That I wouldn't be upset one bit, because you're addressing a need. It seemed forced. Them picking Jamar Chase was forced to me. I think getting him back together with Burrow is going to be really cool, and they're going to be a great duo if Joe Burrow can stay alive. And don't get me wrong, I get that they brought in Riley Reif, they drafted Deontay Smith during the 4th, they drafted Jackson Carman with the 2nd and Trey Hill with their 6th. I get that they addressed the offensive line later in the draft, because this was a deep line class. But when you need offensive line more than anything else, you don't go out and draft a receiver when you don't need a wide receiver. I get that the weapons around Burrow are loaded right now. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. You already have Joe Mixon signed there long term. Drew Sample's not a bum. I get it. You have a good core around him. But why? Why? You need a good offensive line in front of him. I don't get it. That made no sense to me. Please tell me, if you're a Bengals fan watching this, please just angrily type in the comments. Please fucking do. I need to hear feedback on this, because it did not make sense. I do really like the Joseph Osai pick during the 3rd round. I do think he's a good edge rusher, and he does complement Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, and Sam Hubbard well. In my opinion, though, it would have been great to see Carl Lawson, Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, Larry Ogunjobi, and Sam Hubbard. That's a good front four, front five right now, but it could be great with Carl Lawson. And their secondary, it's not looking that good, to be honest. They have Trey Waynes, Chidobe Awuzie, and Darius Phillips. They could really benefit from having William Jackson right now, couldn't they? I don't get what the Bengals did this offseason. It doesn't make sense to me, and I think that's just kind of what the Bengals do. There's a reason why they're not that good. I don't get why Zach Taylor's still the head coach, really. I get that they were competitive with a lot of games last year, so hopefully this can be the turnaround year. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Riley Reiff really steps up. Hopefully Trey Hendrickson has 20 sacks. Hopefully Zach Taylor, kind of evolves into a really good coach. That would be pretty cool. But I don't get what the Bengals did. They had a really interesting offseason. It was dumb. They had a dumb offseason. It was the most interesting of any team by far. Because you have Penei Sewell on the board. And even Rashawn Slater. And you pick Jamar Chase, who is fantastic. But you don't fucking need him. Then during free agency, you have William Jackson and Carl Lawson, who you drafted. You fucking drafted these two guys. And to build a culture, you need to, I guess this is going to sound weird, but nurture these guys to be the building blocks of your franchise. And then they let them leave. And then they just tried to play damage control. They did a great job of playing damage control, but I think that's not how you build a team. That is not how you build a roster. That's not how you build a Super Bowl contender, especially in one of the toughest divisions of football. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me today. I kind of just had to get that rant off my chest. I've been kind of wanting to do this video since literally the draft. So that's going to do it for me today. If you liked this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't, leave a dislike and a hate comment. And, yeah, hope you enjoyed and have a great day.